So everybody, for those I haven't seen this morning, my name is Hermance and I'm a solution engineer for Atlassian. So in this second presentation, I'm going to present you the cloud and data center edition. So as you know, we are going to sunset our server server products. And so in this presentation, my goal is to show you if you move to cloud or if you move to data center, what will you get in addition of what you have in server. So this presentation is not about deciding what is the best for you. I know this is something Onlio can help you with. So on this one, I'm just going to list the feature that you will get by moving from one to the other. So just a little bit of context, I gave this number this morning, but now, currently last year and the past year, 90% of our new customers are starting in the cloud. So we at Atlassian see the need to grow and to transform our company and to allocate more resources to our cloud deployment. So our cloud tools are as good, at least, or even better than our server and data center tool. But so in order to do that, we had to transform our offering. We were offering 3 deployment options, which were cloud, server, and data center. And so we've decided to focus only on one on-prem deployment, which would be data center, which means that we are going to sunset server by 2024, which means that will remain 2 deployment options. I forgot to mention, but if you have any question during the presentation, don't hesitate to ask it. And you can also ask it in chat if you are on your will read your question. So it will leave you with 2 deployment options. The first one, data center, still on-premise, still something that you manage yourself, that you download, that you install on your infrastructure, that you need to maintain, but that you have full control of. And the second option, which is the cloud option, meaning that Atlassian is hosting the products, and it's not just us taking your server and putting into our private cloud. It's literally a new product, a new Jira, a new Confluence product hosted in the cloud that we keep for you and for which we invest more than in our server and data center option. So I'm going to start now by going into data center. And I will do the same for cloud. I will show you what are the differences in infrastructure, what are the differences in product feature, and how you can migrate. And I will do that for cloud just after. All right, so in data center, let's take a look at the infrastructure of data center. On data center, unlike on server you just have one server. And so if it's down, it's down. On data center, you will have a cluster architecture, which means that if one server is down, the load balancer will route your user to other nodes of your cluster. So these are not different Jira instances. It's just one instance with exact replication of the Jira product or Confluence or bucket on each node. And so you can add and remove also additional nodes based on the workload that you have on the node, let's say. Because, well, if you are using AWS, for example, in order to host this type of infrastructure, paying for a node is a cost. So with data center, you can also add and remove nodes according to what you need. So you benefit from this architecture. If we take back server, you will have high availability, no more downtime for your users, because when Jira is down, well, the other nodes are not down. And disaster recovery. So if you think about maybe putting the node distant, not geo-clustering, but just distant by some meters, so they are not affected by the same problems in case, and you can also do call standby in order to do a complete failover in case a complete disaster completely destroyed your data center. The second point is that you can do zero downtime updates and upgrades, because since you will have several nodes, you will be able to upgrade the node one by one. That's also work for the indexing. You don't need to stop Jira to do an index. Same for the upgrades. So you can do that node by node. For Jira, your user can literally continue to work while you are doing the updates. For Confluence, it's read-only mode, because on Confluence you have synchrony. I'm not going to go into detail, but still, when you are doing an maintenance on Confluence, it's not down, it's just on read-only. And the last one is the instance scalability. So that's what I mentioned, where you can add the node, add and remove the node as soon as you want it. So that's for the architecture that you will get on data center. So applying a new data center license will enable you to do that. But just by applying a new data center license, you will get new feature, and no need to create this architecture to have them. So the first new feature that you will get with data center is the possibility to have a CMDB in Jira. So it's actually an add-on that we acquired. It was called Insights Asset Management and Insights Discovery. So both of them are included in data center that allow you to, well, for example, discover your network, see all your assets, see how they are related between them, and then keep all that into a CMDB where you can add some attributes to your assets, assign them to some users. And of course, if we think about using this with Jira service management, this can help your agent, for example, to do some IT asset management, see what's assigned to who. But that can be used also for contract management or customer management. That's for the CMDB new feature in Jira Data Center. The second feature is the archiving of project and issue. So in server, our customer, when they want to clean their instance, they would or delete the issue or remove the permission to the project. It's, well, I mean, everybody is doing that. I did that too. But so now with the archiving of issue and project, the nice thing is that you can remove the access of the project without actually touching the permission. But you can remove all this issue from the search result and from the reports. So it's still there. You don't delete it. You don't change the permission so no one can access it. But in the same time, if really you want to have access to it, you need to really look for it specifically. And the last thing that is included in Jira is advanced roadmap. So it was an app that was called Portfolio for Jira. So maybe you know this one. And now Portfolio for Jira is included directly into Jira Software Data Center. Yeah, so the goal of advanced roadmap is to be able to see on one big roadmap the cross-reporting between the different Jira projects. You're also able to identify what are the dependencies. So for example, if one issue is dependent of other projects, you will be able to see it there, but what it is also used for is to do some forecasting to be sure that you are on track on a sprint. You can simulate scenarios like worst case, best case, and adjust the people who are assigned to issue accordingly. So it's a nice, nice feature which is included in Jira Data Center now. For Confluence, so the first additional permission are the advanced permission. This one is really, it's really for admins. If you are admin of Confluence, you know that you always have users who are asking you like, I don't know why I cannot access to this page, or yeah, why can I not see that or see that? And in general, you would need to kind of reverse engineering like all the space with all the permission, eventually the permission under some pages, the restriction under some pages. With this tool, you will be able to see from the point of view of a space or of a person why they cannot access something or who has access to what. It's just really a way easier tool in order to see the permission in Confluence. Next up, we have the analytics feature. So analytics, right now I'm showing the one in the Confluence administration because you can have reporting across all your instance, but you would also have an analytic tab under each Confluence space where you can see what are the pages that people are looking at, and you can also see who are the most active users. So that's basic reporting on Confluence included in Confluence Data Center. And the last one is Team Calendar. So it was an Atlassian add-on that is now included in Confluence directly. On the calendar, it can be personal calendar, team calendar, and you can also add Jira events to this calendar. So it's quite useful feature. So that's it for Jira and Confluence Data Center. Of course, I selected 3 of them. There are more features if you go on Data Center. I just selected the main one. But so what will happen if you would go from server to Data Center? I kept here the word migration, but in my opinion, it's not so much of a migration. I would more call it an upgrade. So in the case that you currently are on your own your own server, if you want to keep that, that's great. In that case, you can just apply a new license on what you have, eventually upgrade to the last version, it's better. And you would back up your server instance and add some nodes. I'm summarizing it, but that's more or less what you have to do. But in case you want to go, in case your end goal is to go to the cloud, but the Atlassian cloud is not ready for you yet, going into one of the public cloud provider can be a transition step where you would get rid of the hardware, so you would not need to maintain it yourself. AWS would maintain their own hardware, but you still need to maintain the software. But so if you want to go there and that you start from something from your on-prem, what you would do is to deploy a template. We have specific template for AWS and Microsoft Azure. And you would then back up your server instance and import the data into the new infrastructure. So this one is more of a migration, a data center migration, but it's still not what I would qualify a hard migration compared to what's coming for cloud. So this one, server to data center upgrade, is quite an easy process. But so now let's move to the cloud solution. So as I mentioned, the cloud solution is something that we would host. So it's not just the normal Jira that you know. You will see in the screenshot, actually, it's a different product. It has a different look and feel. But because it's on our platform, we are able to do more deployment on it. Just that. We are able to do more deployment on it, and so we are able to deploy more feature on the cloud than we are on server and data center. So first off, let's see what would happen with the cloud infrastructure. So in the cloud, you would not maintain anything. You don't have to maintain an hardware, obviously, but you also don't have to maintain the software. You don't have to update Jira. That's automatic. You don't need to think about it. Of course, on the highest plan of cloud, like premium or enterprise, you do have control on what and when we release. But it's not a maintenance window or something like that you need to maintain. The second point is that our infrastructure would have high availability and disaster recovery. To be more precise, high availability would be 99.9%, financially backup under premium and enterprise plan, and disaster recovery plans that are maintained both by AWS for their data center, but also we do have teams here that are testing this process and checking that they are always running by all time. So you do have literally two companies taking care of that for you. And the last one is the risk management and security managed by Atlassian. We do have some customers who had some vulnerabilities on their server, or their server were not encrypted, and it was becoming standard. Well, on the cloud, the information is encrypted in transit and at rest. We do have regular pen tests, big bounty programs. We are certified on SOC 2, SOC 3, etc. So you can also delegate that to us by moving to the cloud. To give you just a little idea, I put here a customer story, but of course there are many customer stories on the Atlassian website. But it's the case of Rockwell Automation, who were they were completely on server, and they had Jira and Confluence on server. And so they decided to shift to the cloud. By doing so, they both, their Jira and Confluence admin didn't have to maintain anymore the software, which means that they decrease the time and the cost of the maintenance by 90%. And they were able to reallocate these resources to automating as much as they can the platform. So they created a lot of better workflow, but also a lot of automation between Jira and Confluence. And so now they gain a lot of time. Instead of just working on tasks to maintain, they have been able to optimize also their use of Jira software and Confluence. If you're interested, there are many more user stories on the Atlassian website. So what are the features that the cloud would offer? Sorry. Cannot see my screen now because of this. Yeah. So let's start by Confluence. On Confluence, there is a completely new editor. So it's not something that you can get by an add-on on server. The editor on the cloud is easier to use, let's say, than on server. It's more intuitive. And even the screenshot that I put here is a little bit outdated compared to what has been presented to Team 21, in which you can display banner on top of pages, in which you can edit images directly from the cloud, from the Confluence Cloud editor. So it's actually becoming a really powerful feature, the editor from Confluence. Next up, we have the analytics. So the analytic feature is still the same than in data center, the one that I show. The additional feature here, which is not only the analytics, is the archiving part. So the archive in Confluence exists. You can archive a full space, but it was not possible to archive pages. Just like as this I described for Jira Data Center. In general, in order to remove useless pages, and in Confluence, I think it's even more relevant because, you know, on the search of Confluence, you would find pages that are outdated and have exactly the same title, etc. So this bulk archive feature on Confluence is really super useful. This will remove the pages from the page tree and from the search result. Well, when you decide that it's not relevant anymore, or when you realize that no one is looking at those pages using the analytics. And the last one is the external collaboration. So that's a feature that is not there yet, but that will be included in Confluence Cloud Premium, which will be that you will be able to add external collaborator on your Confluence Cloud sites, and this external collaborator will be managed separately, and you will be able to give them specific access, like just access to one page or just access to one space, and for example remove the people tab, or you know what's part of the interface of Confluence when you are an internal user. So that is coming for Confluence. Now Jira. So on Jira Cloud, you would have the team project. That's part of Jira Cloud, free, standard, premium, enterprise. I know that you will, or you had a presentation about team project versus company project. But so team projects are really a handy tool if you want to leave team the flexibility that they need. A project admin can just create new column in the board. As you can see, no need to map anything, no need to change the workflow associated to a board or something like that. Your user can create custom field directly in the team project. So it's definitely not for everyone, but at least you have the possibility to create this type of project on the cloud. Next up, we have the roadmaps. The one that I'm showing here are different from the advanced roadmap I showed before. These are called basic roadmaps, and it's what you would find in all Jira. Also in free and standard, you would have this roadmap that is just for one team to be able to visualize their work, epics, tasks, subtasks on one roadmap, and that's it. But of course, included in Jira Premium and Enterprise, you would have advanced roadmap. So I'm not gonna deep dive into it. That's the same feature than on data center. On cloud, you would have automation. Automation are really powerful, as I mentioned this morning. You can create all sorts of rules with all sorts of conditions, whether it would be between two Jira, like within one Jira project, for example, scheduling task, like each first of the month create this task, or auto-assign stuff, or between Jira projects. So when this ticket is done, then close also all the associated ticket. But you also have the possibility to send webhooks thanks to automation, so you can query external data or find or update, external data based on a Jira ticket transition. So automation, really powerful feature. And the last but not least, in Jira Cloud, we have implemented two new features that are called code in Jira and deployment in Jira. Not really inventive here, but thanks to this, you will be able finally to visualize all your code repo associated to one project. That's under the code feature. And on the deployment, that's what I'm showing right now. You will be able to track your deployment and on which environment it has been deployed directly from Jira and get some insight about it. So what was the lead time? What was the cycle time? What was the, all this type of insights that you want to know about your deployments, you will have it in Jira. So this feature is available. I think if you start Jira Cloud now, for sure you will have it. If you are already on Jira right now, it's possible that it's not deployed to your site yet, but it's coming very soon. I wanted to add a part in the cloud product about user management, because user management in the cloud is really different compared to what you have on server and data center. So on server and data center, you have Jira and Confluence, and eventually you have connected that to Crowd in order to have it centralized, or maybe you just connected directly Jira to your LDAP and Confluence to your LDAP, and that's it. Eventually you have delegated user admin from Jira to other Atlassian tools, but kind of that's it. On cloud, we introduce two key concepts of user management that do not exist on server. The first one is the organization. An organization would act like an umbrella on top of all your Atlassian instances, Atlassian cloud instances. So you would, if you have 3 Jira instances, 5 Confluence instances, on top of that, you would have an organization. This organization will enable you to do like centralized user management, because under this organization, that's where you will manage all our users, just like a little bit in Crowd, and where you can then say these users are affected to this site or this product or this instance. That also gives you organization level metrics, like who is accessing which product, when, which instance is never used, and we should stop paying for it, for example. You have this visibility at the organization level. So the organization is one concept, and the second concept are the manage account. So currently on data center or server, if one of your users from your LDAP is creating a new Jira Cloud site, you cannot know. Even if they start a new data center license, you cannot know. If they are collaborating in a partner Confluence Cloud, you cannot know. In the cloud, the accounts are what we call manage, meaning that they belong to the company. So for example, my email address is hermance@atlassian.com. I'm a managed user for Atlassian. Atlassian claimed the domain and said all the user address under this email address are mine. So me, Hermance, I don't have full control of my Atlassian account. I cannot change my name to random stuff. My company is controlling that for me. So as the owner of a domain, you will control all the user under it. Thanks to that, you will be able to monitor the usage of all the Atlassian products of your user. My organization admin is able to see that I have access to our corporate Confluence and Jira, but also some Jira from our customer because they have added me there so we can collaborate together, for example. The organization admin is able to see that, and they are able to see that maybe I use Trello in my spare time because Trello was not an approved product to work. Maybe they can see that too. And so because this account is shared across all the Atlassian platform, it means that when you deactivate one of your users in your LDAP, this user is not only deactivated for your Confluence or your Jira, like it would work on server. This user is deactivated everywhere. So your Confluence and your Jira, but also all the other Confluence and Jira that this user had access that you were not aware of, but also Trello, Bitbucket, Opsgenie, status page, and even creating tickets with our support wouldn't be possible. Well, not with their corporate email address that they should not use anymore after they left the company. So that's also a very big difference compared to what you have on server and data center, because you have way more control on what your users are doing in the Atlassian cloud. On top of that, there is another product, a new product in the cloud, which is called Atlassian Access. It would be a little bit like Crowd, except that on server, you can do without Crowd. On cloud, you need Atlassian Access in order to connect to your identity provider. With Atlassian Access, you will be able to do enforce security, so SAML SSO, enforce 2FA, but password policy. That's what will enable you to do automatic user provisioning. Synchronize user group from your identity provider to all your sites and products. And you have also additional audit logs and an integration with a CASB solution from McAfee. So in order to migrate to cloud, that's more of a process. The cloud migration can take months, actually. The parts that take the most time are the three first one, the assess, plan, and test phase. What would make it take few weeks versus many months? It really depends on your instance. It really depends on how many projects, how many customization, how many data, how many users you would need to onboard. But that's definitely something that solution partner can work with you if you need to. But so the first phase would be the assessment phase, where you actually check what's in the cloud, check if it's suitable for you, like check if you can actually go in our cloud, because it's a public cloud, so not everybody can go there. We are aware of it. And that's where you would evaluate the complexity and size, and if you want to go now. If yes, that's where you can start planning the migration. So decide if you want to migrate all your project in one go, or some and then some after. And eventually that's where you would clean up your server instance. Then, sorry. Then you would start testing the migration. So according to the migration method that you will decide, you can start testing if it's working well, but also bring some user in order to do some user acceptance tests. And then when all the tests are completed and that you've created your migration runbook, you can then migrate. The main data is migrated or via site import or via an add-on that we have created, a migration add-on, and the app data will need to be migrated separately. And then after that, that's where you fix potential issue that occur during the migration, but also optimize. Because of course you are currently not using, if you're on server data center, you are not using next-gen project. You might not have any automation in place. So that's where you can start using the new and nice feature in the cloud directly on your instance. So of course, you can see it's a journey, but we do have some things to help you on that. So we have launched a migration program, and we are here to support you. At Atlassian, we have created this cloud migration center that is complete self-service of cloud migration. It's something that you can follow. As I mentioned, it will still take weeks, months, but everything is documented, and we have some tools for you to spin the migration. But it's still something that is on your side of the work. It's not Atlassian who is going to migrate for you. If you need some resource to help you migrate, that's where migration partner and so Onlio can help you because they first can, in the assess phase, define if cloud is the best for you. Well, they can decide with you what is the best solution, data center or cloud, and then on cloud, they can help you decide if standard premium or enterprise would be the best. And after that, they can help you cleaning the server instance. They can help you migrate the data if necessary. And in terms of pricing, we have something called the extended cloud trial licenses. So if right now you have a server or data center license, you can go on myatlassian.com and no, it's not on myatlassian.com, sorry, but you can start a trial associated to this license. So for the same number of users and until this license is valid, you can have cloud for free. That's good if you want to test, but that's also good if you want to migrate. And so you don't have to pay for the two solutions in the same time during the migration.